I've been starting to plan the next episode.
The next episode.
Yes. Which all includes another Daniel's S1 update.
There are a lot of those updates going on.
I'm not getting the content that I need out of you for that S1 Mark II.
It's true. I've used it a few times. I've filmed some B-roll. I took some pictures. We've done two, one being pretty short. We've done 2 film shoots with it. So
I need a top 10 things you love and a top 10 things you hate about that camera.
That's a lot of things. I think I feel like I'm going to need to prepare for that. That's like 20 things.
It is 20 things.
That's what that adds up to.
But I need to know those 20 things.
Okay. Maybe we can do that next time.
I mean, maybe. I'll just go ahead and put this over here in the notes. Daniel's top 10 likes and dislikes. I'm going to put 20 things in parentheses here. 20 things. That way you don't think it's only 10.
The pressure's on.
Mm-hmm. We could do it where it's like a balance of some sort, like a scale.
You mean like I'd have to rank them too? Is that what you?
I don't know.
That feels like that could be
if we
hard.
could do some sort of ranking, you could like force rate features. I don't know.
Yeah, we have to workshop this idea a little bit, but we'll come up with something.
We're all thirsty for that S1 Mark II content, Daniel.
It's true. Mostly you.
No one was able to get one, and so.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked. Maybe they're available now, but somebody recently said you couldn't, like, they weren't shipping until, I don't know, September or something. So I think they may have actually sold out of whatever they had.
Oh, really? Do you think that companies do that artificially nowadays?
This is a complicated question. It's kind of like, is planned obsolescence real? Where, to answer yours, I think they do, but I don't think that it's artificial in the sense of let's not make enough to build demand. I think that's a nice bonus. I feel like they know there's going to be some hype. They definitely don't want to overproduce. And especially when you come out with a new product, there's always the chance whenever you make, 1,000 of them or however many and ship them out, there's always the chance that you're going to find something wrong, right? Like when those get into people's hands, something's going to be like not designed well or whatever, and you'll have to, fix something. Mm-hmm. And I think even if you're a big company like Panasonic or Sony or whatever, I think that's a really good reason to not overproduce, because you're going to have like 10,000 cameras out there and like, oops, now we've got to fix something. And, we have all these cameras that are broken. But I mean, none of these companies want to just have stock sitting around. That just costs you money if you have stock sitting there. So like,
even if it's like Apple stock. Or
no, not if it's Apple stock.
Tesla stock.
Well, Tesla stock's kind of up and down. I don't know if that one's a good example. But all that to say, like, I think they have good other reasons to not overproduce the cameras, and I feel like the fact that it builds some hype is kind of just a little side benefit. But I seriously doubt that they're actually like holding stock back just to build hype, because why wouldn't they want to make the money from the sales?
It seems like it's in stock at B&H and you could buy one and have it in 2 days.
Okay.
Free next day delivery.
So what I was seeing was maybe outdated then.
It seems like I could order an S1R2 and have it on Thursday.
Now, we weren't talking about S1R2.
I know. I looked at the S1 as well.
Same thing for both.
But I wouldn't be buying an S1
Mm-hmm. If you would let me sell my XH2S, I would consider buying an S1R2.
Really?
I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. Like if I sold the camera and both of the lenses I have, all 3 of the lenses I have, like you're pretty close to an S1 Mark II. S1R Mark
I thought
II.
you have sell those things to pay for the first camera, Daniel.
Well,
you found yourself in the typical camera gear enthusiast trap, which is, I will buy this camera and then I will sell my current camera. But then when you sell your current camera, you think it's justification to buy more camera.
I bet plenty of people on this call have been in that same boat.
I'm just saying, gotta be real careful. Real careful. It's real easy to buy a 23 millimeter 1.4 and then wait a few weeks for prices to go up and then go sell a few lenses, but then realize that you're going to get a 10% additional value if you go ahead and use that money then, and maybe you'll save some taxes.
Yeah.
So you might as well buy more camera gear.
I ended up with a Lumix S9 because of that same reason, and that has gotten us to where we are today.
Yeah.
So anything could happen.
But that's just the way the world works.
Yep.
Sometimes you sell first and then, or buy first and sell later and end up with an S9.
Yep. I mean, surely everyone here has been in the same boat where it's like you buy something and you have a plan to recoup that money, but like as time goes on, like that purchase just kind of gets absorbed, and then like you kind of forget that you need to replenish that. I don't know. I feel like I'm not the only one who's had this problem.
It's like a disease.
Welcome back to the Camera Gear Podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're here today to talk about the gear, software, and techniques we use to shoot photos and video.
I have this legendary lens that I think has been on here long enough that I've forgotten everything about it.
Perfect. Let's do it.
And the original reason that it came on here is no longer remembered, so it seems out of the blue.
Perfect.
Okay, so this is the Nikon Reflex Nikkor 2000 millimeter f11.
2000 millimeter. It's basically a telescope.
2 meters for short.
Mm-hmm.
It is a reflex lens. Do you remember what that is, Daniel?
Not completely, but I feel like it involves mirrors.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think that checks out. It's where you essentially have the lens reflect on itself instead of like going straight down. It kind of goes down, comes back, and then goes back down. And so you
like
can
a telescope.
Yeah, so you can get a shorter physical lens, but in a long focal length.
And that's how a 2000 millimeter lens is even possible. Because if you look at like a 70 to 200, you're like, okay, how are you going to make a 2000 millimeter?
Exactly. This thing is insane. It's like, hey, Daniel, you got to open the link and look at this thing.
Okay, before I open the link, what if they actually made a 2000 millimeter lens that wasn't a reflex lens? And it was like a 70 to 200, but literally 10 times the size.
I mean, it'd be hilarious. I would love it.
Great.
I would love to see something that long. But this thing comes with its own, almost like a tripod mount situation.
Yeah. I mean, this looks like you would bolt it to like the deck of a ship.
Yeah, it does look like that. The flange with the tilty arms on it is removable, I believe, though it does come with a built-in carry handle. So, I think this was first introduced. Let's see. I don't actually have the date. It's like the 60s, I think is when this thing came out, maybe.
Anyways, how heavy is this thing?
Daniel, it's 17.5 kilograms.
Interesting.
It is not as heavy as you think it would be.
Yeah, it's true. This though would be a really good candidate for, because it's got that base on there. I don't know what that. I don't know like what you screw that into.
Yeah, Daniel, just describe this base for me.
I mean, it thing's pretty solid. Like the base, I don't know if the base is included in the 17.5 kilograms. I feel like it's not. I feel like the base easily weighs that much by itself. But I mean, it looks like it has screw holes on it. I mean,
yes.
It's a serious business. But what I was getting at is, I feel like the move, if you get this lens, is to put it on that motorized Edelkrone Tripod X, because then it doesn't weigh anything.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. That's exactly what one should do. So to correct, it was developed in 1968 and then first released in 1970.
Okay.
And there's this picture that I'm going to show you of a camera attached to it.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
It looks hilarious.
Yeah,
the diameter of the lens is bigger than the camera.
It's you like you would not be able to use that lens with a camera that had you looking through a viewfinder, right? Like you have to have like an SLR type situation.
You're pretty much mounting this lens. You're not hand holding this puppy.
Yeah.
It is. These are all millimeters, but it is 20. I'll just give you centimeters. It's 26 centimeters in diameter.
So almost very close to a foot in diameter.
Yes. And then the length, surprisingly, is only about 60 centimeters.
Yeah. So 2 feet long, 1 feet in diameter, 1 foot. That's I mean, for the focal length, that's impressive.
It has built-in filters. One is ultraviolet, and then it has a medium yellow, an orange, and a red filter.
That seems like a little bit of a weird
Well, you know, if you're
addition
going to
to
shoot
this.
like space or something, I don't know.
If you're just casually shooting space with your telescope.
This thing is a fixed aperture lens. It's only f11,
Reasonable.
and it costs between $20,000 and $30,000.
I bet they didn't make very many of these. Looks like 50.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Yeah,
Not too many.
reasonable.
So this is the Reflex Nikkor 2000 millimeter f11.
I wonder what people actually did with that. Like, would you use this for like some kind of serious birding operation, or is this for like actually for shooting pictures in space? Like, what was it for?
I'm gonna go with serious birding operation as the best candidate here. Maybe you're gonna go take it out and shoot some images of some sort of predator that you really want to be far away from.
Yeah, like a cheetah.
Sure, for shooting cheetahs.
Yep.
This is the largest lens Nikon has ever made. I'm pretty sure.
Like in terms of focal length, or in all respects? Probably in all respects.
I think it's in all respects.
It's pretty big. Pretty cool though. I like it.
I think I'm going to call this one Nikon or Nikant. It's not very good, but I'm going to go with it.
It's not bad.
Okay. So I have to name these segments. This one came out of, I was looking for a few different things, and I was looking at the Canon 5200 millimeter f14 lens.
That's quite a bit bigger.
Which is ridiculous.
Whoa. I thought that was on train tracks at first. like one of those German
does
guns in
look
World
like
War
that,
II,
yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
I thought it was that kind of situation.
Yeah, it literally looks like a Canon. Which if I was gonna make that one a legendary lens, which I'm not, is not being inducted in as a legendary lens, with the title would be literally a Canon.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this thing has like kind of a squarish body. I'm pretty sure those are rivets on the side.
You can focus on things.
This is the most steampunk thing.
According to this, you can focus on things with this Canon 5200 millimeter lens 18 to 32 miles away. just as a quick reminder, the horizon is 3 miles away, so it's got to be pretty high up.
Yep.
This
one weighs 220 pounds.
I think that the minimum focal distance is 400 feet or 120 meters.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, so
that's got some style to it.
Super ridiculous. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's my not that one. That's not my legendary lens. My legendary lens was the Nikon Reflex Nikkor 2000 millimeter f11. And there you go.
Pretty cool. I like it.
Okay, now we can resume the movie corner, which
this was teased last week,
alluded to last week. Yeah. And I don't actually have anything to say about this, so that's been my movie corner.
Cool.
And yeah,
moving on.
Moving on. No, I saw the F1 movie, and I think that everyone was kind of in a bit of a hubbub about the whole like sensor Sony custom camera on a stick thing.
Yeah,
that they did.
I think so too.
It reminds me a lot of it was DJI that released that thing where you could like detach the sensor lens module off of the Ronin or something, and then you could like remote control it or whatever.
Yeah, you like put the camera part in like a backpack, you could put the like the body in a backpack, and it had this wire basically running to just the camera sensor, and so you could put it like in different places and stuff like that. And actually, Sony was the first one to do that.
Oh, really?
With the Venice, they had they have a attachment you can get for the Venice that does something very similar. So that's cool. That is probably where more where this idea came from, since Sony's doing it.
Yeah, for sure. So like they took the sensor out of, they say like the FX6 and the FX3. So I think it's that 12 megapixel, 4K 422 10-bit sensor that they shot the Creator on or whatever, and they essentially like took that sensor and an E-mount lens mount and put it on a swivel base, and the thing can swivel 180 degrees.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think they used quite a few of these things.
And so is it going to an FX6 body somewhere, or is it totally self-contained in that little?
I think what they did is they built the recording components in the side pod of the F1 vehicle.
Oh, I see. So it is kind of like there's no magic. Like they still have to have the stuff that's like inside an FX6 body, but they just kind of relocated the sensor.
The sensor and the lens mount. Yeah, to be like the smallest package it can, and they run the cables down to this module that sits in the side pod of the F2 F1 car, and
I know they were like when people first saw pictures of this thing, they were thinking maybe it was one of Sony's PTZ cameras, because like Sony and Canon and some other brands have like these little cameras that use their lens mount and are PTZ and made for like broadcast or whatever, where you can pan and tilt it and stuff. And so people thought it was that at first, but I think it's cooler that it's the FX6 sensor, or at least the way Sony's trying to sell this is that it was really convenient because they were able to like perfectly match the footage from those cameras with something that you'd shoot.
Right, because I think they shot a lot of this on the Venice.
Yeah,
so it made total sense. I think it's a really cool thing. For this movie, they took F2 cars and then made them look like F1 cars.
What do you think the reason for that was? Just cost?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like an F1 car is obscenely expensive. Like there's no way, and there's so few of them, there's no way that they would have built F1 cars for this. And so they all drove F2 cars and made them look like F1 cars. But with the advantage being that now you have this F1 kit on top of an F2 car, and so they can hide some of these cameras. And I think they made like 21 of these things. I don't know if they put 21 of them on the car, but
I'm sure they had spares and stuff, right?
Oh, probably. I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. I think that the way that they filmed the racing in that movie was very good. They had, the mixture of this oscillating shot, which was fine, and like the detail shots and the drone work and the FPV stuff was all like super good and really engaging. It reminded me it's the same guy that did Top Gun Maverick, and like the jet camera work in Top Gun Maverick was unbelievable, especially because they didn't do much CG.
Yeah.
They literally put the actors in jets and they flew them, and that's amazing. And that's kind of what they did here, and it's pretty cool.
It's kind of nice seeing movies that are okay with that being like a major focus. I mean, like, I haven't seen this movie. I haven't really even read reviews of it. So, I'm sure there's like a storyline and stuff, but they know, like, people watching Top Gun, people watching this, like, they want to see the action, right? And it's good that they focused on that, and like they weren't like, well, let's like minimize that and like tell the story or whatever, and like, no, like let's just have like some really cool racing shots, like some really cool jet shots. Like it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's easy to forget about the spectacle of this kind of thing, especially with CG and how easy it is to make anything come alive with like animation and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that we're doing actual capture of practical effects and building like custom camera equipment in order to do this insane thing to actually capture it gets a little lost. I think, especially as someone who is on Letterboxd, it's real easy to get a little tied too far into like, well, the story wasn't good enough,
right?
But I'm pretty okay with a movie being about the spectacle.
Yeah.
And
that's a better way of saying what I was trying to say. Like, not that both things aren't important, but it's okay if it's like more than 50% the spectacle.
And I've never been really into, say, the Mission Impossible movies, but I do kind of want to go back and watch some of those, especially the latest one, just because some of those sequences are particularly wild.
Yeah. It's like a different way to enjoy movies. That's, I think some people kind of think of it as like maybe like less cultured or something. I don't know, but like I don't see anything wrong with that. And it's a cool use of cameras, like capturing those types of scenes. And like, there's nothing, it's just like how going to a monster truck rally is fun, and like you don't care what the storyline is. Like, you just want to see the big trucks crushing the cars, and like that's fine. Yeah,
for sure. So I thought the movie was fine, and I think that the camera work for the race scenes was really good. And I always like it when people are making custom camera rigs in order to do stuff. And so I wanted to kind of highlight that for my movie corner.
I think people are wondering like if this camera is going to be released or something, and I doubt it's ever going to be like publicly available, but like Sony knows how to do it now. Like, they developed it for this, but now they have it, and maybe we'll see it in something else.
Yeah, maybe. It reminds me of that ambulance movie and that's one of those Bayhem movies.
Yep.
And where they did a lot of that the drone work with the red Komodo, or was it the Komodo X, whichever one's the global sensor.
It was maybe one of the first big Hollywood movies to really use FPV.
Mm-hmm. That was wild. The drone shots in that were pretty incredible. It's real fun to see that stuff.
It is.
Anyway, there's one more video camera related thing I think we could talk about here, and then we can move on to my last topic, I guess.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so I think you put this on here.
I did,
and therefore you should tell me about it because I just read about this today.
Yeah, so there is this company, Camp Snap. They have released a camera in the past. I can't remember exactly the details of it, but it was basically wasn't it like a $50 point and shoot camera?
We definitely talked about it on this podcast. I can't believe you don't remember. It was effectively a disposable camera, plastic lens, but they put a really junky security camera sensor in it.
It was that one.
And you stick like a micro SD card and you just shoot pictures and you can't preview them, and then you look at them later and they look like trash, but it's super fun and you send it to your camp.
I feel like you were kind of interested
with your kids to camp.
I feel like you were kind of interested in it.
Oh, absolutely. I almost bought like 3 of them.
Yeah. So there we go. Anyway, they're back and now they've got a new camera. And what caught my eye about this one is that basically they saw that Kodak Super 8, which, I mean, there was an original Super 8 camera, but like there's also a newer Super 8 camera.
And they said, what if this costs 20 times less?
Yes. Yeah. They said, what if we did the same thing we did with that other disposable camera, but we did that with this Super 8 video camera? And that's what they've done. So this looks like a Super 8. It has some pretty cool, touches, that are kind of in that theme. Like it has an analog battery meter on the side. I think there's one other analog dial, but I don't remember what the other one does.
That one is for the battery and one is for the storage.
Yeah, that's
right. And
it
looks like a box amp.
Yes.
Where it just goes from 0 to 100.
So cool.
And it's got a needle and it just tracks your remaining battery and the remaining storage on the SD card.
Yes, I love it. It has a viewfinder, but no screen or anything. So just like the other one, you have to pull stuff off of it to see it. And this is a digital camera. It's not a film camera. And it probably has the worst, the worst optics and video you could possibly imagine a camera like this.
I don't know what you're talking about, Daniel. There's an f2 3.19 millimeter lens on it. And it says 8x powerful zoom.
Yep. With a fixed focal length lens.
8x powerful.
Well, and then there's this. So it's kind of unclear what the resolution of this camera is. Who would want to know that? You're buying a video camera. Who would want to know the resolution?
Not me.
They're not very clear about it. It sounded like maybe it's 4K 30, but then other people were saying that the footage looks really bad and that it's 480p.
I wonder if it's upscaled.
Yeah.
I wonder if it matters. I mean, it better be 480p.
I honestly think it might be better if it's 480p.
I hope it's 480i.
Yeah.
Even interlace, not even progressive. Just absolute garbage.
So unlike the recent revival of the Kodak Super 8, which wasn't that thing stupid expensive? Wasn't it $5,000 or something?
Do you think it was more or less expensive than RX1R Mark III?
It's right around that price, but I think it's more expensive than that.
All right, I'll confirm.
Unlike this one, though. This one you can buy, pre-order, I guess, right now for $150. And the retail price later will be $200.
Let's see. I am not finding a price on the website for the Kodak Super 8. $5,495.
So slightly more expensive than the RX1R.
Interesting. Yeah, so I mean, that one obviously shoots film, so it deserves more expensive.
Yeah.
Having this thing, you didn't mention that it charges via USB-C, for one. And for two, you didn't mention the 5 built-in vintage filters.
Oh, you get some film simulations?
Vintage filters. B&W, which I assume means I can't think of anything hilarious that stands for B&W. I'll come back to that one. Actually, it could say M and 8. I may be reading that upside down. And then you have ANA, who knows what that means. And then VTG2, VTG1, and standard, or STD. Big and wide. That was what I was going for.
Big and wide.
That's your 4K mode.
This thing does look very vintage. Like the the styling on it is definitely on point.
I love it.
So what do you non-ironically think of this?
What do I non-ironically think of this? I think that I don't know what I would shoot with it in order to justify buying it, but I'm trying to think of something because I want it so bad.
Basically the problem I have with it is how big it is.
I actually love everything about it and have nothing negative to say. It comes with a lanyard for some reason. I think that the form factor is archaic and ridiculous. I think it's like you're trying to relive your nostalgia through your child's eyes by shoving this piece of trash in their hands. And I think that the footage is going to look horrible and it's going to be amazing. And I wish that it had an aux import so you could get one of those tiny mics and then hand somebody a tiny mic. Oh my gosh. It'd be so much fun. And I think that this would be a blast to play with and the footage would look terrible. And I kind of don't care because it just looks like a really fun toy.
So I'm going to say, I think the only use case I can think of for this camera is something like a church youth group.
Oh my
because
gosh.
Nobody's taking this thing on vacation.
It's Camp Snap, man. They're going to take it to camp.
But like if you're thinking about like you as an adult person going on vacation.
No. I'm thinking
you're not putting this in your suitcase. This would take up like all of your spare space in your suitcase.
I'm like, if I'm a kid and I'm going to like summer camp or youth camp or whatever, and I bring this thing with me, I'm all of a sudden the coolest kid there or the nerdiest.
Absolutely.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait.
No,
the coolest.
I'm
limit. Coolest kid there. Hands down.
I feel like it makes a lot of sense for that use case. But otherwise, like if I kind of put this in sort of the same category as the Fuji X-Half, where it's sort of like a toy camera, I feel like despite the price difference between those, I can get behind the X-Half more than I can get behind this just because it's so big and the video quality sounds like it's so bad.
What if I bought one of these and I brought it on our sailing trip?
I would love to see that happen.
It would be so good.
That would be pretty good.
Just saying. I'm sure the video looks horrible.
Yep.
But it's only like $150, Daniel.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the problem. The advantage that the other Camp Snap product had is like it's so cheap.
It's
like,
so cheap.
It's almost just so cheap. Why not? Right?
Yeah, it's very much. It seems like what Camp Snap is making is like you can buy this on a lark. It's kind of a toy.
Yeah. And
it's probably going to be. You're probably going to get as much enjoyment out of it as money you spent.
I think that's probably true. Yeah. Like I if this was $500, I'd be making a lot more fun of it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
At the price it is, I'm like, I just think it's funny. Like it's fine.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, hey, are these images from it? I actually have videos on this link here. Ah, cool. Sorry, I went to the actual page where you can. This is a Kickstarter. No, it's not even a Kickstarter. You can just buy it from them pre-order. There is a picture of a guy on a skateboard holding it like a gun.
Well, yeah, man, you have to because you record with the trigger.
Golly, that's cool.
It says shipping in mid-September.
Oh, man. Well, we'll see if Lucas ends up with one of these things.
Look for a future podcast episode where Lucas reviews the Camp Snap CS-8.
That's gonna be a Patreon subscriber only.
Film your next bag review on the Camp Snap CS-8.
Unstoppable.
We'll be back in just a moment, but we wanted to let you know that if you'd like to support the show, you can now subscribe to us on Patreon. It helps cover our hosting costs so we can keep the show running, and you might find an occasional behind-the-scenes post on there, like some photos we've taken recently or a mini review of some new gear. If you're interested, you can find us at patreon.com/cameragearpodcast.
Daniel, have you seen this Apple sensor patent thing that made the rounds on the websites?
I think I saw the headline, but I didn't actually dig into it. I feel like these things come up fairly, every now and then. Like I've seen them from Samsung, I've seen them from Apple, and I always have a hard time telling, like, is this a real innovation or is this just some random patent that doesn't really have anything to do with anything? Because they always sound really exciting, and then I don't know if that's ever actually like how will that tangibly affect us?
Well, yeah, unless you're black magic, patents don't actually turn into anything half the time.
True. Yeah.
They just kind of exist to prevent other things from existing, it seems.
Yes.
But what this is some sort of camera sensor patent, and it seemed like there's maybe existed before, but there's been some updates to it, and this is as early as June of this year.
Oh, okay.
And this patent is for we assume, mobile phone sensor, or camera sensor, rather.
Do you know, is that actually specified somewhere?
It's
in the
not
thing?
specified, right?
You're just
So
kind of
it's
assuming that.
it was assume it's for a phone.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's a imaging sensor that has supposedly 120 decibels of dynamic range, which translates to approximately 20 stops.
That'd be pretty good.
We've seen some stuff before where it's like someone patents this or develops this security camera thing that can do 24 stops of dynamic range or whatever. And what it's doing is like the bright areas and the dark areas can be captured at different sensitivities or something. And so the effective dynamic range is obscene because it can like capture these pixels at this and these pixels at this. But in reality, like if you used it for photography, it would get really goofy really fast.
Yeah, I mean, any spec like that, whether it's resolution, dynamic range, whatever, like you can't only optimize for the one spec, or else you're going to get something that doesn't really work.
Well,
it's the same way you could have like a super high frame rate camera that just looks terrible.
Sure, right. It's a matter of, it's a little bit of min-maxing, right? And these wildly high dynamic range image sensors that we see, we'll see headlines about it. Sony patents a 75 dynamic range, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's for security cameras or it's for specialty imaging equipment where they...
Like it's on a production line taking, photos of boxes as they come down the conveyor
exactly,
belt.
right. And whereas if you were optimizing for like reproduced image quality for photography, your priorities are going to be different. But even we see that in photography, right, where here's a stacked sensor that may be noisier or a little worse in dynamic range, but it's faster.
Yeah.
And so we can do more computation or better autofocus or better video and that kind of thing. And so this sensor that Apple patented has a few different kind of new whatever technology pieces in it that they're touting, but it is for imaging. It's not for, I don't know, LiDAR or something silly. It's effectively looks like it's a stacked sensor. They're kind of like, it's a 2-layer imaging system, and it's got the sensors up here and the compute down here, and it's like, it's literally just like a backside illuminated stack sensor.
Yeah.
But they're doing this, it gets a little too complicated for me to actually explain correctly, but it has to do with kind of how they're storing the light data, and they have like these. Let's call it this whatever, like lateral overflow integration capacitor or something. And it's like 3 different light levels where we can kind of read and store the more light information, and then can use these like memory circuits or whatever to filter out noise in a different way. And because of how they're kind of on this pixel, I can see more light, so I can maybe like take this higher data versus this lower data on this other pixel because they have different sensitivity ranges, kind of like on a sub-pixel level or whatever. And I'm totally conflating this and maybe not explaining it super well, but ultimately it's like we can capture a much, much lower noise because of the way that this, that whatever overflow integrated capacitor is working. And so it's like more dynamic range, better noise filtering with like less complicated noise filtering transistors. And as a result, it's like, here's something that can do up to 20 stops at dynamic range with like a lot better noise reproduction, which is like where you're getting it, right? It's, can we increase the sensitivity to get that really high end? But then for the low light stuff, how can we, or reduce the sensitivity to get the high end? And then you can pair that off with like the low end, high sensitivity, dark image pieces. But how much low light can you capture? And that's always kind of the problem with smartphone photography, right? It's a small sensor.
Yeah.
You can only capture so much low light. But if you could get farther and deeper into that noise pattern and capture more low light, even with a small sensor, because of better sensor technology, then you can boost your dynamic range. And so I think that noise filtering is a huge component of why this is getting a lot more dynamic range, is because they're doing this kind of offset thing to reduce like thermal noise and essentially doing noise reduction within the capture component without having to do like AI noise reduction, which would cause things to get like mushy.
Right. It does seem like lowering the noise floor is probably like the biggest improvement to be made in smartphone photography.
Absolutely. It's one of the things that kind of differentiates from smartphone to a not smartphone. I was comparing some photos that I took with my iPhone and my Fuji recently, because I was kind of going through pictures from the latest trip. And I had taken a picture where the subject was close enough that I got like that natural fall off and kind of bokeh and out of focus areas in the background of the iPhone picture. And the bokeh off of an iPhone photo looks so trashy. It just looks bad. There's so much like double imaging, and the way that the light reproduces in the specular highlights is all soap bubbly and just like it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, I mean that's always been the problem with phone photos, is that as soon as you pixel peep, it doesn't look good, and that's sort of what you're describing. Not exactly.
Yeah, like yes-ish, but it's like if you just kind of take a minute and look at the background and compare it to an image shot with a full-on lens, the way the fall off looks and the way that the out of focus areas look is so much better on like an actual camera. Not that the iPhone is an actual camera, but it's kind of like, where do we need to see improvements that you like? Maybe you can kind of do a lot of it in software, but what can you do in hardware to like see improvements? And we need to see, lens improvements. I think those will come, I hope, but also, sensor improvement for like, how can we boost dynamic range without necessarily having to do it with combining a billion pictures.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now you're dealing with the mushiness and the noise and the over-the-top HDR and all this sort of thing. And so,
well, and no one's saying that you can't take these technologies and combine them with whatever computational photography you want to do. You always have that thread you can pull on, but like there's a limit to what you're ever going to be able to do. And if you can also make improvements on the hardware side, like you're just getting a better starting point. It's just going to make the end result better.
Yeah, there's also a few other interesting patents that Apple filed. One was for this what do they call it? It's like a membrane aperture, so having an actual variable aperture, which is something that Sony's done on their Xperia phones, where you had like it was a standard interlacing blade type aperture, and you could jump between two different apertures.
Yeah.
The one that Apple patented for something they're never going to make is it's almost like a rubber banded, like a membrane. So there are no blades, but you can like stretch it and
cool.
reduce it in order to change that circular aperture.
Interesting.
That's really interesting.
Kind of how your eyes work.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. The other thing that which I don't think this is ever going to come, but there was this ridiculous like liquid cooled system.
What?
That uses, I don't know, electromagnets and fluid in order to actively cool whatever computer components. So imagine it kind of on like an iPhone or something, where you actually have liquid cooling on the back of your processor.
Yeah, I mean that patent straight up says fluid pipe. So there's something flowing through there.
There's a not necessarily liquid cool, but you get thermal pipes in phones all the time now, right? Where it's got a copper
vapor chambers. And
stuff. Exactly. So I mean, it wouldn't be unrealistic for something like this to exist.
Yeah.
But it's almost like if you took these three patents and you just imagined, I don't know, what are we on 16 now? The iPhone 20 or something, and you have this 20 stops of dynamic range, variable aperture with active cooling. It almost it almost makes you wonder, there's all these shot on iPhone things and the push with Apple Log and ProRes and a lot of the events being shot on iPhones and 28 years later being shot on the iPhone 15, which is something we're probably going to talk about as soon as I see that movie. All this stuff, it's like, I think that Apple wants to be in that cinema world with some sort of like camera solution. I don't know if that's always an iPhone. I don't see Apple ever making a standalone camera.
It'd be so interesting though if they did.
Everybody
wants that.
I would love it.
Yeah.
It would be so cool. I don't think they're ever going to do it. But I don't know. What if they did, Daniel? Let's just take a break here and imagine what that would look like.
Be pretty cool.
They've come out with, Apple Watch and the Vision Pro, and each of those kind of had their own app platform. I don't see it running iOS, but it could run some variant of iOS. Maybe they would call it Camera OS.
I wonder if they would just make something that integrated really well with an iPhone to where the camera itself had very minimal like OS or capabilities, but it was just designed to like offload stuff to your phone.
I'm imagining something that has, maybe it has 3 cameras on it. Maybe they go the GFX100 route where they have one camera with a bunch of resolution.
I definitely don't picture Apple like being part of any third party lens ecosystem.
No. It would all be built in. It would be fixed lenses with variable apertures. But the back of it is think of it like an iPhone screen or something. And you can download app platforms. So you can have your Photoshop and your Instagram and your a halide camera and like essentially just take all of the camera apps that you have for iPhone, but put it on something that's a purpose-built digital camera.
Yeah. I personally, I feel like I'd be less interested in something like Photoshop because I just think like how am I going to be holding this like probably kind of awkwardly shaped thing doing editing? That feels a little weird.
No.
But I love the idea of having something that you could install other camera apps onto. Well, that would be really cool.
Yeah, like if you can upload to YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or something from this device, I think that would be...
That's a useful feature.
Really, really interesting.
Let you airdrop it to your iPad if you want to do editing or something. Right. But then, like if I could load Halide or whatever other app and kind of like totally change the experience of using the camera, that would be something that nobody else is doing.
I don't think this ever exists because it's at what point is it just an iPhone?
Yeah.
But I mean, Apple is really good at wanting you to own multiple devices.
That's true.
And they think you need an iPad and a laptop.
Mm-hmm. I do. I have both.
I also have both. See, very good at it. I think that I don't think it ever happens, but I think there could be, a parallel universe or whatever where Apple releases whatever you call it, the iCamera or something, or the Apple camera. And the Apple camera has the Apple camera software on it, kind of like the Apple TV has Apple TV app where you can watch Apple TV. It's going to be like that, but with cameras.
They could bring back the iSight brand name.
Ooh.
And, it could also act as a webcam. If you wanted to do FaceTime or something. Like they already have that thing where you can use your iPhone to do that. Let you use this thing for it. It would be so cool. I agree with you. They're probably never going to do it. But it's such a shame because I do feel like that's an area where their particular type of like tight integration and design and all that would actually work pretty well.
I absolutely. I mean, it could be something that's like a Sigma BF kind of thing. But I would be very interested if, say they take this sensor technology that's like 20 subdynamic range or whatever, and they blew it up to something that wasn't a tiny little, 1/1.7 inch sensor.
And that's kind of what I wonder is that possible? Like, we see all these patents for things like this, and sure, the reason they're pushing so hard on it is because they need that performance out of this tiny sensor. But is there something actually stopping them from using that same thing on APS-C? Like, is there something inherent in what they described that makes that not work? I don't know.
I'm sure there's a yield problem with it, that just producing it would be so expensive with all the silicon and everything. I mean, a 35 millimeters camera sensor is a giant wafer. It is so big. Mm-hmm. I do think that it would be really cool. I know that, that cameras all have processors and all this sort of thing are very purpose built and they're not lacking for processing necessarily. but we're not seeing camera companies really get into computational photography on the same level as phones.
Definitely
There's always
not.
that
Yeah.
difference. And, I think it would be wildly interesting to see Apple come out with a APS-C sized whatever camera device
Yeah.
that has, applications on it, but they're using, the most modern whatever processor to do like actual computational photography
Yeah.
on a sensor that's actually good with a lens that's actually good.
I think probably a lot of people listening to this and probably us included are happy maybe that most camera companies aren't leaning too much into it because
Agreed.
We want to be able to take a picture that's the real scene, and be able to edit it and stuff. And I mean, we're turning down noise reduction in our cameras a lot of times. So I don't want all cameras to be that way to where I can't ever take a real picture, but I would as a separate thing, separate from that, I would love to see a camera that uses all those capabilities that's letting the iPhone and the Pixel and Samsung phones and all that take these like impressively good pictures for how small their lenses and cameras are. I would love to see that blown up. Like what is the extreme that you can take that to?
I think it would sell. I think a standalone camera device that has all the Apple tie-ins. Like you shoot on this thing, it will tether to your phone automatically. It will upload all your photos to Apple Photos, and it does all the computation stuff. And it's like the perfect point and shoot snapshot camera.
Yeah,
and it just isn't your phone.
I would be interested in it too. I wouldn't use it for our paid work.
No,
but like
no.
As a separate thing, sure, sounds great.
But also, it's like I think Apple just wants that to be your phone.
Yeah, I think they do.
And it
I
makes total
wish
sense.
they would realize. I mean, I understand it, and like maybe it's better that they're not. I don't know, like if they have the ability to expand into like more and more markets, but it's not the same as a phone because I feel like the phone has its place. I use my phone all the time to take pictures, but there's stuff that I'm just not going to take photos of with my phone. Like I'm not going to use it in certain situations that I would consider using something like this.
Yeah, I'm sure that the amount that they would sell would be a drop in the bucket compared to things they actually sell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if would think that if they were able to make a $800 device that like did these things, which maybe they couldn't because that sensor, if they went full Super 35, it might be too expensive.
Yeah,
but I would have to sell better than a Vision Pro.
Most things sell better than a Vision Pro.
And that thing has so many cameras in it.
I would think their COGS would be a lot lower. Like they'd be able to sell it potentially for cheaper if they wanted to. They'd definitely make more profit. Yeah, I don't know. I would say the market is potentially bigger for it, but I
think optics.
It's just like everything else, though. It comes down to like, could they make it cool? Like it's kind of the same reason I felt like the X half is going to either like live or die based on how it goes on Instagram. Like I think if they could make it cool, they'd sell plenty of them.
I mean, if they could run iOS apps and be small and pocketable, but be a large sensor, like something like a GR3 or whatever.
Yeah,
maybe it could.
That would be a good size for them to go for, I think, right? Even over something like an RX1R III size. Like if they could make it the size of the GR3 to where it is still something you could take with you, I think that would
I'm sure it would be completely a touchscreen on the back and there would be no real controls.
Absolutely. No doubt.
Maybe a shutter button, capture control, sorry. Capture button? What's it called? Capture control?
You're the one with the 16.
I don't know, man. I disabled the thing that turns on Siri.
Good call.
That's not important. Anyways. Could be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but it would be neat.
Yeah.
One of the apps that you might run on this thing would be maybe Project Indigo.
Yeah, that was a good transition.
Thank
I
you.
like that.
I tried really hard for that one. Have you tried this out, Daniel?
Very, very briefly. I do have it installed. I've taken a couple pictures with it. Kind of forgot I had it installed.
I was trying to fully switch over to Project Indigo from the default camera app because I took a few pictures with it and I was like, this seems cool. I like what they're doing. And what I found is that I double click the capture button to take pictures a lot. And the way that usually looks is I take my phone out of my pocket and before I pull it up, I double click the button.
You've already got it open.
So while the camera app is loading, I'm like positioning the photo.
Mm-hmm.
If you you can set the capture button to single click to open. I just have it double clicking so I don't accidentally open the camera all the time. because I would just like toy with the button, and I would absolutely open the camera all the time. Anyways, the iOS camera can run outside of whatever the secure blah blah blah. You can take a picture with your phone still locked.
Right.
You cannot take a picture with a third-party app with the phone still locked.
That feels like a pretty big limitation.
Yeah, it's a huge stupid problem that when I double click it to open up the Indigo app and I reach up to take the picture, I'm staring at my passcode screen.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be an issue.
It's like I'd have to bring it up so I can Face ID while I click the thing, and then I'm waiting for this thing to load. And so that was enough of a barrier of entry that I've switched. I left that button to be. I thought about making the action button the Project Indigo camera app, and then the camera app being the other one. Then I was like, that's stupid. And so now I'm just kind of like half using one, half using the other. Anyways, let's talk about what this thing is. These people from Adobe at research.adobe.com. That's where they live.
Yes, that is both their URL and their home address.
All right, so they got these jokers, who is Mark Lavoie and Florin Keynes, were on the original Pixel development team.
Like they made the first Pixel on a computer screen? Or do you mean the phone?
I mean the Google Pixel.
Okay.
The Google Pixel, the Google Pixel camera, the computational photography, changed the world. It's as big as AI.
I mean, let's not get carried away.
It was as big as the first cell phone. It's huge. Riding in the streets. Some say that the original Pixel was as important as the first iPhone.
You think so? Does anybody say that besides you?
Some people say it.
If you say so.
Some people. Anyway, they were at Pixel until 2020, and now they're at Adobe, and now they've released Project Indigo, which is a camera app for your phone that you can put on your Android phone or on your iPhone, and it ties very well into Lightroom Mobile because it's made by Adobe.
Sure, yeah.
And this is just another camera app, but it does computational photography, I think maybe, let's not say better, but differently than the default camera app. And they're kind of doing some fun things.
It seemed like whenever I looked at the marketing for this, when you originally told me about it, it really felt like, if I had to sum it all up, they're trying to say that it's like a more realistic looking picture.
They're trying to make the image look more natural than what you're getting out of your iPhone camera. Or, I mean, your Samsung or your Pixel or whatever, where a lot of these mobile photos have gotten flatter and flatter and flatter because they don't really, just shadows are bad.
Yep.
And I mean, there's been some level of trying to resolve that by giving like picture profiles and this sort of thing. But by default, I mean, iPhone pictures, the HDR is out of control in my opinion.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And you can't turn it off anymore.
It's a lot.
And it's just so much. And I want my pictures to look more natural. I just do. And so this like super appeals to me because you do get those hybrid JPEGs where it's like, it's not using, what's the new JPEG format? JPEG Plus, JPEG XL. It doesn't seem like they're using JPEG XL, unfortunately. I wish they were, because that would be super cool. But they are using these hybrid JPEG images where you can get standard SDR and HDR within the same image so that you can display in either one depending upon the display you're putting it on. Cool. Not a new thing. Google and Apple are all doing it. But they're trying to lean less hard into the whole HDR thing, so it kind of looks a little more natural. And I do think that it HDRs less aggressively than the iPhone photos.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I know that really bothered you about iPhone photos, so I guess from that perspective, you like this better.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. It's nice to still have it, where it's like their bright components are brighter, but it's not like the thing where you take a picture of something outside and the sky is all of a sudden the bluest blue you've ever seen in your entire life and 1,000 nits every time you look at the photo.
Yep.
Like, I just want to look at this picture of, oh my gosh. Anyway, in my experience in like using the Indigo app for a little bit, I thought that in some photos that I took outside, the skin tones were nicer. And photos that I saw that you took inside, it looked mushier and worse.
Yeah. There was one picture I took where I took basically the same picture of both apps. I asked you which one you liked better. You picked the iPhone one.
Yep, I did. But I did the same thing on separately outside.
Yeah.
And I liked the Indigo one better. So it kind of like seemed like maybe it had to do with, the lighting and stuff. what Indigo is doing here is they're capturing up to 32 frames. Most camera apps are doing like 5 or 8. They're doing 32. And so it takes longer to process, and they warn you about it whenever you download
you
this
can tell.
app.
It's very noticeable.
And they're like, if you close the app, it may not process. You kind of have to wait for it to do its thing.
Yeah, that part's a little annoying.
But like you read this whole kind of marketing-ish article, and I have a link here for the show notes. They're like, okay, we're doing up to 32 frames. And the way that we're doing this and using the DNG files and how we're taking the images and aligning and merging allows us to leave more noise in rather than trying to do more noise reduction, which can make it mushy. We're favoring a noisier, cleaner image, a noisier, sharper image rather than trying to mush out all of the noise as aggressively as some of the other ones. And we're doing it because of the way that they're doing this combo.
And I think that's a good trade-off. Like it's something where I guess I'd want to switch normally. Like if I'm just taking a picture to quickly send to somebody, maybe I'm fine with massive amounts of noise reduction. But that is one thing where with phone photos that I normally take, I think a lot of times I'd rather have a little bit of noise and have something that's not as mushy.
I would agree with that maybe 100% of the time. I would rather have noise than mush.
Yeah.
It is counter to what I said about the image that you took, which I thought the Indigo one looked mushier, but maybe I just need to do more A/B comparison. That does seem to be the main thing that they are touting this. And they seem to be bringing a lot of the computational photography, like features and stuff. You get like the night sight. You can do the long exposure, smooth water thing. They're doing the super res zoom. They'll like delete reflections out of a window or water or whatever. So they're doing some of the cool AI and computational photography things that we see in other camera apps. And so it's nice that like you can switch over to this thing and you're still getting all the features that you would expect out of a modern camera app, but it seems like you can get more natural colors and tones, less aggressive HDR. It can shoot in RAW. It gives you full manual control that are pretty intuitive to use. And so you can switch between manual and not manual, even up to like focusing. I really like this app. I think that they did a good job making a very usable camera app that ties into Lightroom so that you can, like, I'm inclined to shoot in RAW using this Indigo app and getting DNG files than having to go into the settings, or I guess you don't have to go into settings anymore, but like turning on RAW and shooting on RAW on my iPhone and trying to like get all that exported and then the RAW files going into Lightroom or whatever.
I feel like like hearing you talk about this, I'm okay with. I mean, I wish you could launch it from the lock screen of the phone without having to unlock the phone. But I feel like I'm a little more okay with that if I think about this as being like a more pro photography app, because I feel like I can kind of imagine like a division of uses here where if I'm just trying to like take a quick shot of something, like maybe I'm not being artistic, I just like I need to take a picture of this label or whatever, using the iPhone camera app seems fine. But kind of the way I think about like the Blackmagic app for shooting video on the phone, it's like, okay, if I'm doing something where I want to think about it a little bit more, I'm focusing on this, like I want to adjust my settings a little bit. Cool. Let me just open up the Blackmagic video app and I know I'm going to get, really good video, and I've got all those controls and I can edit it more if I want to. And like, I'm okay with that as like a division between those two apps. And to me, this feels like maybe it could be that on the photo side where I'm not going to use it for every picture I take, but if I'm in a position where I can think a little bit more about the photo I'm taking and I want it to be more artistic or just look better, then sure, I've got this app I can open up that gives me those settings, gives me the DNG files. I think there's still a use case for it, even if I don't replace the regular camera app with it.
Yeah, I think so too. What I've done is I've set one of my lock screen shortcuts to be the Indigo app. And so I have the default camera as the capture button. But if I have my phone out where I can like see to long press the corner of the screen, it's going to Face ID and I can open up that and get to it quickly. And that's essentially kind of how I've been thinking about this and using it as like, okay, this is going to be almost like my pro camera app on my phone, which I almost never take photos like that with my phone.
Well, for you, for the most part, you probably have your Fuji with you at that point.
Pretty much. Yeah. But even still, it's kind of nice to have the option. I wish I could get into a mode where I'm thinking about my phone as a camera a little more and less of just kind of a throwaway photo device.
Yeah, we've talked about this many times, like utility photos versus
for sure,
like artistic or saving, doing photography type photos.
Yeah, I mean, I'll like when I'm in the world, I don't always have my camera with me, despite what everyone thinks. Like I wish I did, but I don't always have my camera with me. And I'll see something where I'm like, that would be a cool composition. That would be a cool photo. Shame I don't have a camera with me.
Mm-hmm. That's the use case where it makes sense. Like, I enjoy taking my camera and going out to take photos somewhere. And that's something I don't do as much anymore. I'd like to do it more. But yeah, the truth is, like, sometimes I'm walking my dog and the sunset's really pretty and I want to take a picture of it. Yep. And I probably don't have my camera with me then.
Yeah. But like, I have my phone with me.
Yep.
I could take my phone out and like try to get that picture with the phone. And I can never get it successfully. And I'm wondering if maybe, with this super slick Indigo app, maybe that'll finally unlock that for me. They do add like 10x zoom and stuff. So like you are getting, because this is the, whatever, the 16 and that 48 megapixel photo.
Yeah.
They're doing that. You can do a crop in on the standard and a crop in on the 5x.
Oh, that's cool.
To get, a 12 megapixel 2x and 10x.
Yeah. So
it is, kind of more in your face about it than the default camera app. But I don't know. Maybe I just need to, try to use these things more.
Cool.
I do wonder if it can get better images with the telephoto lens. I haven't actually.
Yeah, it'd be fun to side by side that.
This is the problem. I don't take enough photos with my phone because when I'm taking photos, I'm using my XT5.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to really spend some time taking pictures with the Indigo app and kind of like see how they turn out.
You have to give some credit to Apple. They really have done pretty well about giving people enough low-level access to the camera that they're able to make these apps that behave different in meaningful ways. And I feel like they've done better about it than Android has. I think Android's probably improved since this statement. But there was a time where I felt like on Android, if you weren't using the Google camera app, the pictures basically looked like garbage.
Well, what it was is that it wasn't. I think they fixed this whenever they released the Camera 2 API for Android. And I honestly, it's been a while since I've done any sort of like goofing around with that stuff. That I don't really know if there's like a newer now API. But for a period of time, it was easier to open up the camera in the background for your app and then take a screenshot of the preview than actually integrate the camera into the application.
And so, you ended up with basically the built-in camera app was both faster and just looked better than any third-party app.
Right. So it's like if you were using Snapchat or Instagram and you wanted to use a third-party app, it's like you better have an iPhone.
Yep.
I don't know if that's true anymore.
I think it's gotten better. I feel like it's gotten better.
The stigma is still there, and that's a big problem. Like I'm pretty sure this Project Indigo thing works on Android.
I feel like whatever Apple did with their APIs, they've really always supported that pretty well. It's gotten better and better over time with things like being able to set it as your lock screen shortcut or whatever.
Just kidding. It's not available on Android yet.
It sounds like there's still some gaps with stuff like the needing to unlock the phone. But whatever they're doing, like on the low level of providing the camera, I guess I'm just impressed with what they've done, that they've made it easy enough to use that people are able to make these apps. So it's not like impossible. Like they're giving you some access to their image processing pipeline to where whatever you're getting out of their camera is reasonable.
Yeah, because
all these third party companies aren't like re-engineering all the computational photography stuff.
It seems like if you want to, you can get the raw image off the sensor, but also if you want to, you can get the non-raw image off the sensor.
Yeah, and it's great that they're providing both of those options because it gives you the ability to have apps like this that are giving you like new low level capabilities. But it also seems like it must not be so hard to do that people can't do it because you do have a lot of options like this. So I think they've done well on that.
I got a little mixed up on, it was the Android guys who made this app for Adobe, but they only released the Indigo app on iPhone, iOS so far.
That's really interesting.
And I mean, it's the classic thing, right? Where like a lot of these unique apps kind of just come to iPhone first. I do wonder if it's the ease of development or it's just the number of unique cameras that they would have to support would be out of control. Though, I mean, I guess there's the 48 megapixel and then there's not that many cameras that they'd have to support on iOS, right? It's at these 12 megapixel sensors up until the 15.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. And I mean, the different sensors on the, like there's, the 3 cameras on the modern phones, they're all different sensors. But I mean, I'm sure the APIs for interacting with them are the same, and then it's just whatever different processing they want to do.
Yeah, for sure. So I think this is really cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm excited to be able to play with it and use it. I hope that it doesn't go the way of, what was it, Google in an inbox, which was like my favorite mail platform application, until they're like, we rolled it into Gmail, but Gmail's not as good as Inbox was.
Yeah, we'll see where this goes. That's kind of my biggest question too. Is like, is this going to be a long-term thing from Adobe, or is it just like a little experiment? I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you have an iPhone, you should check it out. Seems like it's mostly free.
Mostly free isn't everything these days.
I don't know. Maybe they want to get you into Lightroom Mobile or something.
Yeah, probably so.
Who knows? It's cool. So yeah, I guess this was just a big more phone photography.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to name this episode.
It's all about the freaking iPhone stuff, man.
That's the title. All about the freaking iPhone stuff, man.
Yeah, do it.
That's it for the show today. Thanks for joining us, and if you liked it, tell a friend so they can check it out too. You can find out more about the show at www.cameragearpodcast.com, and you can find us on Twitter @CameraGearPod. We'll be back with more next week.